Welcome to Writing a U.S. Publisher Book Proposal to Share Your Dramaturgical Methods with Jacqueline Goldfinger at the 2021 LMDA Conference. I have a book coming out this summer called Playwriting with Purpose, which is looking at playwriting with a dramaturgical lens. And honestly, I never thought I would write a book. Mainly, I knew that I had a lot of really interesting ideas. I knew that when I taught playwriting and dramaturgy, I was encouraged to put my writing notes and lectures and exercises into some kind of form that could be shared. But really, there are so many wonderful texts out there on theater. What could I possibly add? So the first hurdle I had to jump was just gaining the confidence to write the proposal. And what I will say to you right now is that while there are many wonderful books out there on playwriting and dramaturgy, when I began writing and when I began sharing chapters and pages, what became very clear is that my distinct voice, my distinct point of view was not out there. And so my book was offering access and connection to people different from what the audiences were for other books. People who connected and access the art through just a different lens, a lens that connected more deeply and resonated more deeply with how I saw the world and how I thought. So I just want to encourage you that your unique point of view, perspective, idea of the world will filter through whatever book you write, and you should absolutely write it. We need more views of theater, both process and eventual product, if you want to call it that, than are out there right now. When I began to think about publishing a book, I was overwhelmed by the number of publishers and options out there. And so what I did was I created a spreadsheet that really helped me narrow down what publishers I should focus on and the tact I should take with how I propose the book. So on this spreadsheet, there was the name of the publisher, the link to submission info, how I would submit a proposal, any deadlines listed, and most importantly, what could I contribute that was missing or outdated from their catalog. So for example, if they had a new playwriting book that sounded pretty good, automatically I said, don't submit to this one. They already have something in this vein recently published, right? And by doing my research in this fashion, I could quickly figure out, okay, what are the publishers most likely to be interested in my work, or what are the publishers that I should take off the list or put much further down the list to contact, because it seems like this niche is already filled. Once I had my spreadsheet filled out and I'd organized it with the publishers that I was most interested in and I thought I would most connect with at the top, publishers that needed what I had to give at the top, and then the ones I was less interested in at the bottom, it was time to start looking at the specifics of what was required for a book proposal. The biggest challenge I faced at the beginning of the book proposal process was shifting my mindset from one of process to one of product. Because as an artist, I often think about the process of what we're going to do as we're going through it, rather than the end goal. The end goal is important, but the process occupies most of my time. However, book publishers are interested in the product. They want something they can sell and put on the shelves, and they have very specific needs that need to be met. And so it was vital that in those early days of creating the book proposal, I constantly reminded myself this proposal has to be about product at the end of the day, because that is what is going to appeal to the decision makers in this process. In my experience, all the publishers want to know four big things that were all almost always product related. They wanted a convincing rationale. What niche in the market is this going to fill? Now, that's a niche in the greater market. Like, is this going to be sold to academic institutions or primarily working theaters or working artists, to hobbyists, to professionals? Also, they wanted to know what niche in their catalog is it going to fill, right? And this is going back to our research spreadsheet. They want to know, why is this something new that I'm putting out there that doesn't step on the toes of any of the other books I'm also trying to sell? Another major question they asked was, how will we sell it to the market convincingly? Right? And basically, they are looking for a little bit of shine, right? A little star quality. So they want to know, if someone sees this on a bookshelf, if a professor sees this at a conference, what's going to catch their eye and make them pick it up? So for me, my argument to Routledge for my book was, the niche in the market this is going to fill is that there has not been a new playwriting workbook or guide published recently. And the workbook, guides, etc. for playwriting tend to be focused on either the art or the craft. And this book brings the art and the craft together. We talk about how to create the work. We also talk about how to sell the work. And we give people actual writing exercises they can do along the way. So if they complete the entire book, by the end, they'll have a whole play, right? And then how will we sell it to the market convincingly? Frankly, there I made sure that I created a list of artistic advisors that I put in my book proposal, whom all knew they were in the book proposal. I asked them if I could include their names of people who would look at the book for me, so that the publisher would know, here are 20 people from across the country who are all accomplished artists and or educators who are going to vet this, so that we can go out and say, yes, this book truly is for all of these different markets, the academic market, the professional market, the hobbyist market, etc. And it's been vetted by someone who actually works in your market, so they know what they're talking about. So you should buy the book, right? Most of the publishers also want a strategic plan for the project's development. Basically, they want realistic guidelines, and realistically, how much are they going to have to contribute to this process? For me, it being my first book, I didn't ask them for any support at all. I just wrote the book and had people check it, and I did it all myself to make it very easy for the editorial board to say yes to, because they didn't have to invest anything early on in creating the book. And then they usually want an explanation as to why you want to undertake the project. This is the part where you get to go in and be a little more process oriented in your thinking, and you get to talk more about your intent and why you're there and how important it is. But it's very important that the first three, the convincing rationale, how will they sell it, and strategic plan, are more focused on the product, right? Because the publishers want the product, they want to be able to sell the product. And then you can let yourself get into more of the process and why it's important and what intents are and what the pedagogy is in the last question, which is explanation as to why you want to undertake the project. After I submitted my proposal, I received notes back from an editor. Once I revised the proposal to meet that editor's needs, the editor sent it out to review to a number of my peers. I got more notes from my peers. I revised that, and when the editor felt it was appropriate, she sent it to the editorial board for approval to go into contract mode. And I would say that the most edits I got were all about making sure the editors understood the product. They understood why this publishing company needed to publish this book now, and who would be out there, credit cards out, waiting to swipe as soon as the book was released. So, not to sound mercenary, but I just want you to be realistic, because I think that I had to revise my proposals more than I expected early on, because I did focus on process more than product. And that's just not what this tool is meant to do. This tool is meant to show the publishing company how you could sell books in this exciting way. So that is it from me for this short session. I hope you got a little bit of clarity about what publishers are looking for in terms of writing book proposals. I wish you all the best of luck, and I can't wait until your book comes out. We absolutely need more perspectives and ideas about theater creation and dramaturgy in the world. So bring it on. If you have any follow-up questions, we're not having a live Q&A this year, but you can always reach me through my website, which is jacquelinegoldfinger.com. Click on contact, send me an email. I would be happy to answer any questions you have that I can answer to make this process easier for you. I've been there. It's daunting, but absolutely doable. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have a wonderful conference.